I gave this company everything, my time, my loyalty, even my health. And the moment her father stepped down, she handed me a pink slip without blinking. No thank you, no warning. Just like that, I was gone. But what she didn't know was that her father left me with something far more valuable than a paycheck. Something she didn't think she'd ever need, and when the moment came, I didn't yell, I didn't fight. I simply turned the key and everything changed. Before I tell you how it all unfolded, let me ask, have you ever been quietly erased after years of loyalty? I started working at Crestvale Engineering back in 2006. Back then, it was just a mid-sized operation with 20 employees and a founder who cared more about people than profit. His name was Walter. He built this place with grit, compassion, and a deep respect for what each person brought to the table. I wasn't some genius. I didn't go to Stanford or MIT. But I understood how systems breathed, how data flowed, how problems unraveled if you just stayed calm and watched long enough. Over the years, I became more than just head of systems. I became the quiet engine behind everything that ran right. I trained half the staff, fixed what no one could see, and never once asked for a raise. Then Walter's health declined, and like a slow-moving shadow, his daughter stepped in. Madison, fresh out of business school, sharp heels, sharper tongue, eyes that saw numbers, not people. She never looked at me, not really. To her, I was just part of the old wiring. The day Walter officially stepped down, Madison walked into my office. No handshake, no thanks, just a folder and 3 words. Your time's up. I didn't argue. I just stood there, holding 17 years of my life in a cardboard box, but deep down, I knew something she didn't. I didn't storm out, didn't slam any doors, didn't even look back at the office I'd helped build from scratch. Instead, I drove home, quietly, past the same gas station I used to stop at every Monday morning, past the diner where Walter and I would grab lunch and talk about the future, but something in me was still watching. See, when you spend nearly 2 decades keeping systems running, you start to feel when something's off, and Madison, she moved fast, too fast. Within days, I saw changes, emails sent to old contacts with my name still attached, server configurations that hadn't been updated but were now labeled improved. Tech vendors calling me, confused, wondering if I'd retired or disappeared. I didn't tell them the truth, I just listened. I spent my days like a ghost in the system, watching, reading, connecting dots. And every night I'd sit by the kitchen window staring out at the quiet street with the same feeling in my chest I'd get before a system crash. It wasn't fear, it wasn't anger either, it was something deeper, like an instinct sharpening in the dark, because she hadn't just fired me. She'd taken control of something she didn't understand. And the thing about unstable systems, they don't break all at once. They wait, and then they fail, loudly. About 3 weeks after I was let go, I got a message from a former junior technician I'd mentored. Name was Chris. Good kid. Quiet but sharp. He didn't say much, just asked if I had a minute to talk. We met at a small diner on the edge of town, the same booth where Walter used to sit. Chris looked nervous. He kept glancing over his shoulder like someone might be listening. Then he leaned in and whispered, "Something's wrong with the system." He told me the platform we built, Our secure backbone for client data and communications was glitching, slowing down, sending the wrong reports to the wrong clients. Worse, no one knew how to fix it because the documentation, my documentation, had been wiped when Madison optimized the infrastructure. Turns out, in her rush to modernize, she ignored every safeguard I'd put in place, every backup, every fail-safe, gone. But here's the kicker. The system wasn't crashing on its own. It was resisting. She tried to overwrite core processes without understanding how they connected. And now, the thing I built was folding in on itself. Chris looked at me and said, "I think it's going to collapse." I didn't blink, didn't smile, didn't gloat. I just nodded slowly, dude, and said, "It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when." I didn't rush in to save the day. I didn't offer my services or ask for my job back. That's not how this kind of story ends. Instead, I pulled out an old black notebook, the kind Walter once gave me. Inside were handwritten notes, backup passwords, and a list of legacy commands, the kind only someone who built the system would know. And at the very bottom of that list, one line, "Fail-safe override protocol, master key required." Walter and I had coded it years ago, not out of paranoia, out of principle. We believed no one should ever hold unchecked power over something that affects people's lives. And when he stepped down, he left that physical key in my hand. I waited until the night the servers were scheduled for a major client sync, something that couldn't afford failure. Logged into the old admin shell, entered the master protocol, and just like that, the entire operation entered lockdown mode. Not destroyed, not sabotaged, just frozen. Every system requiring manual override, every shortcut Madison had created, disabled, every error she buried, surfaced. She couldn't spin it, couldn't blame anyone, because when the system asked, "Who built this?" every log, every trail pointed to one name. The next morning I heard nothing. No calls, no emails, just silence. But by noon, the noise began. I didn't have to be in the building to feel the panic. Client portals locked, projects stalled, investors calling, and Madison? She was finally looking at a system she couldn't bluff her way through. Later that week, I received a plain white envelope in the mail. Inside was a formal letter. No apology, just a vague request for consultation support. I folded it once and dropped it in the trash. See, I didn't break anything. I didn't expose secrets. I simply let the system tell the truth she tried to cover. And in doing so, I reminded her that some foundations aren't built in slideshows or spreadsheets. They're built in sweat, silence, and knowing when to speak with action instead of words. Weeks passed. I started volunteering at a local tech mentorship group. Young minds, real curiosity, no egos, just hunger to learn. I never told them what happened. They didn't need to know. Because this story wasn't about revenge for me. It was about reminding the world that even when you're erased, even when they take everything, they can't take what only you know how to build. And that was the last time I walked past Crestvale's glass doors, not out of anger, but with peace. Because true revenge doesn't shout. It doesn't throw punches or scream in boardrooms. It walks away quietly after proving its point. Madison never called again. But the silence, that was enough. These days I still fix things, just smaller things, and with people who actually listen. So if you've ever been pushed out, replaced, or made to feel like your years don't count. Remember this: wisdom never fades, and silence, in the right hands, speaks louder than anything. Before you go, tell me something, friend. Have you ever had to prove your worth after they thought they could erase you? Drop your story in the comments. Let's not be silent about it. And if this quiet revenge spoke to you, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with us. Your next story might just be your own.